welcome to our breakfast news this morning. It's a beginning of a new week, live from AYOGEN online television from Ondo City. Here are the major headlines. On our breakfast news this morning, Sohun Oyo Deputy Governor Ladoja orders attended burial of Ogbomoso monarch. Frustration as price of sachet water skyrockets in Taraba. On our political news this morning, how Atiku asked Tinubu to spend money during presidential election. BC Akonde. Presidential election, how Atiku rejected Tinubu as running mate, says BC Akonde. On our business news this morning, increased taxes on alcohol, cigarettes, World Bank tells federal government. Sport news this morning, breaking news, Rose sacked as Super Eagles coach, NFF appoints Egwa Ovoen. On our health news this morning, inadequate fund, budgetary release affecting fight against HIV/AIDS, Yusaka. On our foreign news this morning, U.S. tornadoes, at least 70 people killed in one of the largest tornado outbreaks in U.S. history, as warnings death toll may exceed 100. On entertainment news this morning, why one they call exit hurts me, says Don Jassy reveals. I am Makojola Luatosin Esther. We'll be right back. Sohun Oyo Deputy Governor Ladoja orders attended burial of Ogbomoso monarch. Deputy Governor of Oyo State, Rauf Olaniyan, former governor of the state, Senator Radidi Ladoja, and other dignitaries on Sunday attended the burial of Sohun Ogbomoso Obajimo Oyewumi Ajagunbeade 111. Our correspondent recalls that the monarch joined his ancestors on Sunday. The monarch, who died at the age of 95, reigned for 48 years. Prominent personalities in the state had reacted to the death of the monarch. Our correspondent reports that the monarch has been buried according to Islamic rites inside a vault in the palace. He was buried some minutes after 4 p.m. on Sunday. The burial prayer was conducted by the chief imam of Ogbomoso, Imam Toliat Oluwashino Ayilara. Other dignitaries who were at the palace to mourn and attend the burial included former governor Chief Christopher Adebayo, Alao Akala, Chief of Staff to Governor Seyi Makinde, Segun Ogunwuyi, Senators Fatai Buhari, and Ayo Ade Sheun. The burial prayer was conducted by the chief imam of Ogbomoso, Toliat Oluwashino Ayilara. Frustration as price of sachet water skyrockets in Taraba. The sudden hike in the prices of sachet water, also known as pure water in Taraba State, has become a source of worry to residents. A bag of pure water that used to be sold at 100 naira now goes for 160 naira in the state. Unlike a few days ago when sachet water was sold for 10 naira, market survey shows a sachet is now sold for 20 naira. Residents says there is now a need for relevant authorities to, as a matter of urgency, intervene on the price hike. Some sachet water hawkers who spoke to said they increased their prices from 10 naira to 20 naira because manufacturers and wholesale sellers increased their prices. Zainab Saliu, a sachet water hawker, said, "Before we used to sell one of the sachet water for 10 naira, but since the companies have decided to increase their prices, we have also decided to shift our grants in order not to lose." Zainab, who spoke in the Hausa language through an interpreter, said, "The fault is not from us, but from the manufacturers who have failed to take the masses into consideration." While dealers and hawkers who spoke with our correspondent are busy pointing accusing fingers at the manufacturers for the increase, the manufacturers on their part are blaming the government for the high cost of manufacturing materials. Most of the manufacturers visited by said it was not their intention to increase the said price of sachet water, but for the high cost of manufacturing materials. They claimed only the government can reverse the trend by subsidizing materials used in the manufacturing of sachet water. Though we have all sat down and agreed that a bag of water should now go for 160 naira and not 100 naira again, the truth is that some of us are not happy with this development because water is a gift from above, even though we are buying other materials to make it consumable. The manufacturer, who craved anonymity for fear of being sanctioned by his union, said it is not too late to reverse the price, provided the relevant authorities will come to our aid. On our political news this morning, our article asked Tinubu to spend money during presidential election, says BC Akonde. Former interim chairman of the All Progressive Congress APC BC Akonde has narrated how Atiku Abubakar, ex-presidential candidate of the Defunct Action Congress AC, asked Bola Tinubu, APC national leader, for money in 2007. Akonde narrated that during a meeting that members of AC had with Atiku, he would direct them to ask Tinubu for money whenever the need came. In his autobiography, My Participation, Akonde said Tinubu was the only person spending during the electioneering period. Akonde, who was the national chairman of AC, stressed that Tinubu dedicated his energy and resources towards forming AC. He said what prompted us was that anytime we said we needed money, Atiku would say, Bola, please help us. Bola was the only one spending the money among us. The rest of us were poor. Tinubu also put all his energy and resources into the formation of the AC, and we felt it deserved a spot on the ticket. Presidential election, our article rejected Tinubu as running mate. BC Akonde. BC Akonde, a founding member of the All Progressive Congress APC, has disclosed how Atiku Abubakar, former vice president, rejected Bola Tinubu, APC national leader, as his presidential running mate in 2007. Akonde, who was a former national chairman of the Action Congress AC, said despite the nomination of Tinubu, Atiku opted for Ben Obi as his running mate under the party. The Osun State-born politician disclosed this in his autobiography, My Participation, where he opened up on some of the untold incidents that happened before the 2007 election. Akonde had released his autobiography over the weekend. Akonde disclosed the article informed the party of his choice of running mate through a Kano-based politician, Bashir Yusuf Ibrahim. He said the former vice president insisted on Obi despite efforts by the then AC chieftains to persuade him to pick Tinubu or other candidates from the southwest. Akonde said he accepted Obi's nomination because he believed it was Atiku's choice to pick his running mate. He pointed that there will have to be a crisis if he had refused Obi as Atiku's running mate. According to Akonde, in 2007, we formed the party, the AC, with Abubakar Atiku. We agreed that Atiku should be our presidential candidate, and we had the understanding that he would run with Bola Tinubu. I was the chairman of the AC. One day after we had nominated Atiku as our presidential candidate, one young man came and gave me a form from INEC. I told him I could not sign a blank form and that I, as the chairman, must know the name that will be filled in it. The young name Bashir Yusuf Ibrahim must have been the organizing right-hand man of Atiku. The following morning, he came again with Lawan Kaita. Kaita begged me and said it was Ben Obi's whom Atiku had chosen as his running mate behind our backs. So I signed the form because I believed in the candidate. If I refused to sign, that would have created a crisis. Atiku would eventually lose the election to the People's Democratic Party's Musa Yar'Adua. On our business news this morning, increased taxes on alcohol, cigarettes, World Bank tells federal government. The World Bank has called on the federal government to impose special taxes on alcohol, cigarettes, and sugar-sweetened beverages to improve primary health care. The World Bank Country Director for Nigeria, Shubham Chaudhary, made this call in Abuja during the Special National Council on Health meeting organized by the Federal Ministry of Health on Friday. He said if we want to improve healthcare in Nigeria, we need to tax the things that are killing us. The economic rationale for taxing this product is strong if we want to save lives and make a better and healthier Nigeria. Chowdhury noted that taxes on tobacco, alcohol, and sugar-sweetened beverages would reduce the health risk associated with their consumption and expand fiscal space for universal health coverage post-COVID-19. The country director stated that investigating a stronger health system for all would contribute to tackling rising poverty and inequality. He added that health tax increases would have the additional advantage of reducing future healthcare costs by curbing the growth of non-communicable diseases that tobacco, alcohol, and sugar-sweetened beverages causes. On our sport news this morning, on a breaking news, Roar sacked as Super Eagles coach, NFF appoints Egwavoen. Gerard Roar has been sacked as the coach of the Super Eagles by the National Football Federation, NFF. Nigerian Football Federation has also appointed its technical director, Augustine Egwavoen, who to take charge of the team on an interim basis. This is with immediate effect and follows the termination of the relationship with Franco-German Gerard Roar, who has been in charge of the three-time African champions for the past 64 months and is Nigeria's longest-serving manager. An official statement on Sunday read. The decision was taken during a virtual meeting of the NFF Executive Committee on Sunday. Egwavoen will work with Salisu Yusuf, Paul Ayigbogun, Joseph Yobo, Dr. Terry Ugwaje, and Aloysius Agu. Former captains Augustine J.J. Okocha, Unwako Kanu, and Gaba Lawal will provide a technical and ambassadorial support. Egwavoen will now take the charge of the Super Eagles ahead of the 33rd Africa Cup of Nations taking place in Cameroon on the 9th of January to the 6th of February 2022 and until the appointment of a substantive head coach. On our health news this morning, inadequate fund budgetary release affecting fight against HIV/AIDS, says USACA. The Yobe State Agency for the Control of AIDS, USACA, has identified inadequate funding and budgetary release as some of the factors affecting the operation of the agency to effectively tackle the scourge of the virus in the state. The Executive Secretary Yosaka Alaji Dauda Kime disclosed this at the celebration of World AIDS Day 2021 on Saturday in Damaturu. The state capital, however, said in spite of the challenges, a survey has placed Yobe HIV/AIDS prevalence at 0.4%, second least in the country. He said the biggest HIV/AIDS populations-based survey on the surface of the earth, which was conducted in 2018, has succeeded in sampling 15 local government areas out of the 17 in the state. The survey, which is called the Nigerian HIV/AIDS Indicator and Impact Survey, has given the state a prevalence of 0.4%, which is the second least in the federation, while the national and zonal prevalence is 1.4% and 1.1% respectively. Dauda said. He noted that development was connected with a community-based test before marriage policy and recently approved national policy of self-testing of HIV, amongst others. He said the theme of this year's World AIDS Day, End Inequality and AIDS and the Pandemic, was the key to agency's target of ending the mother-to-child transmission of the disease. While commending the Yobe State government for its support, the Executive Secretary appealed for the government to address the challenges facing the agency. He also appreciated the World Health Organization, WHO, saving 1 million lives, State Emergency Management Agency, SEMA, for their continued support. Dr. Lawan Ghana, the State Commissioner for Health and Human Services, in his remarks commended persons living with HIV/AIDS in the state for their resilience, hard work, cooperation, and support for the government in controlling the disease across the state. Ghana assured the agency of the government's continued support. On our foreign news this morning, U.S. tornadoes. At least 70 people killed in one of the largest tornado outbreaks in U.S. outbreaks, as warnings death toll may exceed 100. Elsewhere, 6 people were killed when the roof of an Amazon warehouse collapsed in Illinois. Up to 100 people may have been killed as tornadoes and storms hit several U.S. states, toppling buildings and trapping people inside. President Joe Biden says the deadly weather system is likely to be one of the largest tornado outbreaks in U.S. history. as it pledged to provide whatever is needed to people in need. Addressing Americans is at a White House news conference on Saturday. Mr. Biden said, "I promise you whatever is needed, the federal government is going to supply it." He revealed how he's at aid for those affected by this in the United States of America. Our citizens are badly hurt and they are scared to death right now. It's devastating. Mr. Biden told the nation, "We just have to keep it at it. We have to keep focused. This is going to be the focus of my attention until we get it finished." Earlier, Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear said it was the deadliest tornado system to ever run through Kentucky. This disaster included the rescue crews, he said. Earlier this morning at about 5 a.m., we were pretty sure that we will lose over 50 Kentuckians. I am now certain that the number is not of 70. It may in fact end up exceeding 200 before the day is gone. Mr. Beshear said 4 tornadoes had turned through the state, with the primary tornado traveling more than 227 miles, 365 kilometers across the state. He said the community of Mayfield had been devastated, with a roof collapse at a candle factory resulting in mass casualties. Almost 60,000 people had been left without power, he added. On entertainment news this morning, why Wande Cole's exit hurts me, says Don Jazzy. Popular music executive and main producer Don Jazzy has given reason why he was hurt after Wande Cole left his record label. Wande Cole left the record label in 2013. His exit came as a shock to fans of Mo Eat's record label, now Marvin. Don Jazzy, speaking on the Afrobeat podcast, said Wande Cole's exit from his record label hurt him because he was like a child he raised and then had to let go as an adult after all the training. According to him, Wande Cole is a genius and a music vocalist we found when he went for a show in Unilag. Every separation hurts, whether amicable or not. One day exit was like when you train a child and then he has to go when he's an adult. It hurts because I had to start building again, friendship and all of that. You will know why this exit hurts me because I had to tweet about it. Don Jazzy, however, apologized to his fans for making such tweets about Wande Cole's exit. And that'll be that on our breakfast news. We'll be right back shortly, to stay with us. Welcome back. We're still on our breakfast news this morning. Highlight of our major headlines. Show Oyo Deputy Governor Ladoja orders attend burial of Ogumosho monarch. Frustration as price of sachet water increases in Taraba State. On our political news this morning, our article asked Tinubu to spend money during presidential election, says BC Akonde. On our presidential election, our article rejected Tinubu as running mate, says BC Akonde. On our foreign business news this morning, increased taxes on alcohol, cigarettes, World Bank tells federal government. On our sport news this morning, breaking news, Roll sacked as NFF appoints Egwa Oven as the new interim coach. On our health news this morning, inadequate fund budgetary release affecting fight against HIV/AIDS, says Yosaka. On our foreign news this morning, U.S. tornadoes, at least 70 people killed in one of the largest tornadoes outbreaks in the U.S., and which may exceed over 100. And entertainment news this morning, why Wande Cole exit hurts me, says Don Jazzy. And that will be that on our breakfast news this morning. Thank you for watching. I want you to continue to subscribe on our YouTube channel on AYOGEN Online Television. Follow us and like our page respectively on Facebook and Instagram. I remain Makonjola Oluwatosin Esther. Do have a very wonderful week.